21st Century Entrepreneurship with Martin Piskarik.
What the money multiplier is from a 25,000 foot view. It is a concept, it is a system, it is a process that allows you to take all of your debts, all of your expenses, everything that you're doing with money, everything that you are using the money for, and by applying this concept, it allows you to recapture and recycle all of that money, so you're keeping that money inside of a closed system. There's no money being leaked out to anyone else. Just to give you the big view, is the thing we do is we teach people how to pay their debts and their expenses, increase their cash flow with the money that they already have, and they're able to keep that money in their family. All right, we're helping you to build wealth through your own debts and expenses that you already have. Now, how did I come about this? Well, just to give you a little bit of background about me, all right, so my name is Brent Kesler, K-E-S-L-E-R with one S. Most people spell my name Kesler with two S's. I'm one S. I'm actually a chiropractor. I owned chiropractic clinics in the Kansas City area. I no longer practice chiropractic anymore. I have not actively practiced in a clinic since about 2007, 2008. I had associate doctors that worked in my clinics. The last clinic I sold in 2017. So it's been about 7-8 years now since I sold that last clinic, right? Now, as a chiropractor, the thing that we would tend to do sometimes is we would go to chiropractic conferences to learn more about our business and how to build business and how to get patients. And a lot of times when we were learning that stuff, we would learn also things about our money, maybe about taxes, about wealth building, just as far as different things that you needed to know as a business owner. Because I can tell you the one thing that they did not teach you in chiropractic school. They taught me how to be a chiropractor, how to use my hands, all the techniques, all the modalities of what to use, but they never taught me how to get a patient in the door, right? So now I get out of chiropractic school and here I'm on my own, and I have to go out and either work in somebody else's practice or open up a practice on myself. Well, they didn't teach you the business of chiropractic. Just like most business owners or most people in most careers are not really taught about money. They're not taught about how money works. So back in 2006, I was at a chiropractic conference, and I heard this guy come up the stage, and he was talking about this thing called the infinite banking concept, how to become your own banker, how to build, keep, and create wealth through your own debts and expenses that you already have. And it was fascinating information. It was like, oh my gosh, that sounds so good. It sounds incredible. However, it sounded too good to be true. You're like, there's no way. There's got to be a catch to that thing, right? It cannot work the way that they say it's working. So I heard that for the first time in 2006. I did nothing with the information. As a matter of fact, I bought this book here called Becoming Your Own Banker. It's a book, and it was written by my mentor named Nelson Nash, R. Nelson Nash. Now, Nelson Nash, he lived in Alabama. He passed away 5.5 years ago in March of 2019 at age 87 years old. This man and this book completely changed my financial life. This is a book I suggest you go out and look for, you go out and find. You buy this book wherever you find it, you go out to Amazon or wherever you buy books and add that book to your wealth building library, right? So I bought that book in 2006. I bought it home, Martin. I put it on my shelf. I did nothing with the information. So then I go back to another chiropractic conference 2 years later in 2008. Now, about 10 or 12 of my chiropractic colleagues that were at the previous conference are now at this conference with me. The only difference between them and me is when they heard the information, they acted upon it. They're like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to implement it in my life. I did not do that. So all those 10 to 12 people, they were coming up to me 2 years later and they were saying, Brent, isn't that banking concept the most powerful thing ever to build wealth, to keep money in your family, to pay debt, expenses, recapture, recycle the money? And I didn't know what they were talking about. I had forgot what they were talking about because I had this book sitting on the shelf for 2 years and went back to my normal life and forgot about it. But when they started talking about it, I then started to come back. I started to remember everything that they were saying. Yes? So I thought to myself, there has to be something to this method. There's no way 10 or 12 of my colleagues are lying to me. Maybe one or, but not 10 or 12. So I came home in February of 2008 and I told my wife, I said, honey, we have to start implementing this concept in our life. And it was February of 2008, and I was $984,711 in debt. That's what I owed the third-party creditors. Now, I know what the audience is thinking. They're thinking, well, how do you know exactly how much you had in debt? Well, that was part of the exercise. I had to know that number, right? That was part of what I had to know. Now you're thinking, well, how do you get to be almost $1 million in debt? I know if you live in California, that buys a very small house. But at the time I was living in Kansas, and that bought you a lot in Kansas, right? Well, how did I have $1 million in debt almost? I had the house that I lived in. I had my student loans from chiropractic school. I also had, at that time, I had 2 clinics back in 2008, 2 chiropractic clinics. I also had a condominium, a condo on the Lake of the Ozarks between St. Louis and Kansas City. And if you have a condo on the lake, you have to have a boat and a wave runner, don't you? I mean, you can't have a condo on the lake without a boat and a wave runner. I'm also an airplane pilot. So as an airplane pilot, I had to have my own airplane. So it didn't take me a lot to become almost $1 million in debt. Well, I was able, Martin, to apply this concept that I learned in my life starting in February of 2008. And I was able to pay all that debt off in 39 months, 3 years, 3 months. I never ever, Martin, never ever did I have to change my cash flow. I did not have to work any harder. I didn't take any additional risk with my money, or I never lost control. All I did was added one step in my financial life. That's it. I just added one simple step. So I became really passionate about how this worked, and I was excited about this, and I was telling other people about what I was doing. Just like those 10 to 12 colleagues of mine that were told me about it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. You got to do it. I was telling everybody that I knew. So one day, it was probably sometime at the end of 2011, maybe early 2012, I went to the office of who I started my first program with when I started this concept. And I said, and I was there to ask him some questions about my stuff, about my financial stuff. And he walks downstairs from his office. It was a 2-story office. He walks downstairs and he says, Brent, I was looking through my records and I've seen you've referred me 41 new clients. And I kind of laughed and I said, well, Ray, you've never paid me a dime for any of those people that I referred you, right? I was kind of laughing about it. And he was like, no, in all seriousness, he says, you're very, very good at this. He says, you utilize this in your own life. You've mastered this concept. You're telling other people about it anyway. You should consider doing this just yourself as a career. I'm like, what? I could do this? He said, yeah. I said, what do I got to do? He says, go out and get your license, and then I'll help train and teach you. And that's what I did in March of 2012. I now got my training, and now I've been teaching people all around the country since March of 2012. I've been speaking at maybe 50 to 70 live events a year. Of course, I wasn't speaking at live events during COVID. Everything went to Zoom and virtual, podcasts, webinars, as far as go-to meetings, things like that, right? I do another 100 to 120 of those a year, and I'm teaching people this concept that I implemented in my own life, how to build, keep, and create wealth through your own debts and expenses that you already have without taking any risk or without working any harder or without losing control of your money. And fast forward here, let's see, what was that, 12 and a half, almost 13 years now later, we have over 17,000 clients in every state of the country. We also work with Canadians. So if you live in Canada, and you do all your banking and everything and all your stuff is in Canada, we have a Canadian team that can help you as well. I know you're in Croatia. I cannot help you in Croatia unless you have some vested interest in the U.S., such as a business or maybe a residence or a bank account in the United States. So we can't help everybody. We can't serve everybody, but we do have many, many clients from around the country that live in other countries, and we are able to serve them because they do have a vested interest in the U.S. So anyway, now that's what we do. We teach this concept. There's nothing I sell anybody. I've never asked any of those 17,000 plus clients to buy anything. What we do is we teach on this concept. And if you like this concept and it resonates with you, if it resonates with you and you're like, oh, I can definitely see that. I can see how that would work. I want to see how I can implement that in my financial life. Then hopefully if you decide to do that, then hopefully you're going to work with us at the Money Multiplier. You don't have to work with us, but hopefully since I'm the one that taught you, you're going to work with us here at the Money Multiplier. So that's in a nutshell what we do. So I will put a shout out there to my daughter, my 25-year-old daughter. Her name is Hannah Kesler. And my daughter has a podcast called The Money Multiplier Podcast. She has about 160 episodes, records a new episode every week. Her podcast 6-9 months ago went live on iHeartRadio, right? So she teaches this concept each and every week. She travels around the country and she speaks, just like I do as well. I will tell your listeners, when you go to our website, themoneymultiplier.com, there's a box you can click. It says Watch Brent Now. And I have a full 90+ minute presentation on there that goes into detail of how this works. 90+ minutes. That is just one presentation. I also have about 70 other short videos on there as well. We call them the FAQs, the frequently asked questions. And then in addition, Martin, I wrote a book about 4 to 5 years ago called Mapping Out the Millionaire Mystery. Mapping Out the Millionaire Mystery. I wrote that book with a client of mine who is now a colleague. His name is Chris Naugle, Naugle. If a lot of you are in the real estate world, you may have heard of Chris Naugle. He lives in Buffalo, New York. He's had a couple TV shows in the real estate space. One on House Hunters, another one on HGTV called Risky Builders. If you've never heard of Chris Naugle, I highly recommend you go to chrisnaugle.com and watch everything he puts out there. He puts out a ton of content, gives all his content away from free. And it's just basically you can be a sponge and learn about not only this concept, but money and real estate and several different topics. So Chris was also, He just was also a life insurance agent for New York Life for 16 years. He worked on Wall Street as a stockbroker, so he has a lot of insight on information on how money works. Now, Martin, what I would like to do is I would like to offer this book to all of your listeners as an ebook version, okay? So if you email me, Brent, B-R-E-N-T, Brent at themoneymultiplier.com, that's Brent at the word money, the word multiplier.com, I will send you that ebook. And if you don't want to send me an email, you can go to our website and figure out how to get the ebook on your own. And if you really have to have a hard copy of the book, which you really don't need it, or if you want the audio version, you can go out on Amazon and find it out there. I always tell you not to buy my book because I'm going to give it to you for free. But if you need to have the actual copy of it and just not the ebook version, you can go out and find it. Or if you want the audio version, you can go out there on Audible or Amazon or those type of websites and find it. It's called Mapping Out the Millionaire Mystery. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, this infinite banking concept, what is this all about? Well, a couple things. I already told you about this book that Nelson Nash, my mentor, wrote, Becoming Your Own Banker. I definitely recommend you add that book to your wealth building library. Go find that book wherever you buy books and get it. Nelson also wrote 2 other books. One is called Building Your Warehouse of Wealth and The Case for IBC, okay? Now, if you can only afford one of the 3 books, get the first one I told you, Becoming Your Own Banker. That is the Bible of the infinite banking concept. That is the legacy I carry on. I carry on his legacy. That is the concept that I teach. All great information. Now, how does this concept work? Well, the concept is not on, okay, so it's not brand new. It's not on trial. It's not being tested. As a matter of fact, it's been around for over 250 years. So if you go out and research what the wealthy have done to build wealth in their life, for example, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, the Morgans, the Stanleys, the Barclays, if you want to go see how Walt Disney built Disneyland, how Ray Kroc funded McDonald's, how Pampered Chef got started before Warren Buffett purchased Pampered Chef, this is the tool. These are the concepts that the wealthy have been using for over 200 years. So it's not something new that we're going to try out and let's see how it works. So how is the concept driven? Well, the concept is based on you. Now, I'm about to tell you the product we're going to use to build wealth, and it's going to freak a lot of you out when I tell you this. As a matter of fact, a lot of you are going to totally shut down when I tell you what this is, because you're going to check out, because in your mind, you're going to think you know everything there is to know about this product, and you're going to think there's nothing Brent can teach me because I already know everything. Don't do that. Nelson Nash calls that the arrival syndrome. He says people, for some strange reason, they think when they hear information about a topic, it's a topic they're familiar with, and they think they know everything there is to know about it, and nobody can teach them anything new. So have an open mind. God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth, so you should be listening twice as much as you're talking. Now, I'm still trying to learn that trait. I haven't learned it yet, but I'm still working on it every day. But keep an open mind. Okay, so the product that we're going to use, the vehicle that we're going to use to build, keep, and create wealth is a whole life insurance policy in a mutual company that pays dividends. Now, I just said that bad word, life insurance, and you guys are like, life insurance? What in the hell are you talking about? How am I ever going to build wealth using life insurance? That is a horrible way to build wealth. I know it's a horrible way to build wealth because Dave Ramsey and Susie Orman told me it was a bad idea. Well, no, you do not know everything there is to know about this concept or about how this works, because if you did, you would be implementing it in your own life. Now, let me be totally clear. This is not any type of life insurance vehicle. This is not the type of life insurance you can go buy from your brother-in-law that sells life insurance, right? We all have a brother-in-law that sells life insurance. That is not this type of policy. This is a specifically designed, specially engineered whole life insurance policy in a mutual company, very important, in a mutual company that is designed for high immediate cash value. One more time, designed for high immediate cash value. And when I say immediate, that means 30 days, within 30 days. So every time you hear the word immediately come out of my mouth, you automatically think within 30 days. So what that means is you put money into this policy and you immediately, within 30 days, have cash value to access out of that policy to go use for anything you want to use in life. Your debts, your expenses, your investments, whatever it is that you're using money for. Because remember, we all use money, right? And the thing we have to be clear about is what the definition of money is. If I ask you to tell me what the definition of money is, you would give me a lot of different answers. But all money is a means of exchange. That's all it is. All we do every day with money is we exchange it. We exchange money for food, food for money, car for money, money for car, house for money, money for house, airplane ticket for money, money for airplane ticket. It's a means of exchange, right? So the thing that I do is I teach you how you keep this money in your family, where there's no money being leaked out, where you're able to use that money over and over and over again. I'm going to give a shout out to another client of mine who is now a colleague on our team. His name is Devin Burr. B-U-R-R is his last name. And he's real big on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, all social media stuff. And he goes by, his tagline or his hashtag signer, I don't even know how you pronounce that, but I'm not a big social media guru, but it goes by Mr. Burr, MR_Burr, B-R-R-R-R. Now, Devin is a real estate investor in Arizona. And what Devin does is he buys a lot of properties. So Devin has taken this concept and he applies it to all of his real estate purchases. And why does he do it? Because he's able to use the money, the same money, over and over and over again. Imagine that. Imagine being able to use your money over and over and over again. And that's why we attract so many people in the real estate space. I mean, again, I told you earlier, I have over 17,000 clients in every state of the country. And I don't know the exact number, but I would almost be willing to bet my house that over 60% of my clients are in the real estate business, whether they're a broker, an investor, a flipper, or whatever, in some form or fashion, because the real estate people love this because they're able to use their money over and over and over again. Not that you have to be into real estate to use this. You can use this for every product or service that you are offering. Like, I owned 5 chiropractic clinics in the Kansas City area, okay? I own chiropractic clinics. Now, when I first started in chiropractic, I didn't know this concept. My first 2 clinics, I did not know how this worked. But then I learned how this worked. And how was I able to build those other clinics? How was I able to pay the doctors that worked in the clinics? How was I able to pay for the x-ray film, all the equipment, the therapy, the modality equipment, my malpractice insurance, the salaries for the employees? I use this concept because what you're doing when you use the concept, you're recycling and recapturing that money. That money stays within your family. There's no money being leaked out to anyone else. It stays in your family. Could you just imagine if you just kept more of what you're already making? Did you know the average American spends 34.5 cents, 34.5% of every dollar that you spend goes to interest to pay someone else. You're paying that in interest. Over a third of your money goes to interest. Now, here in the US, we have this thing called Uncle Sam and the IRS. Well, I don't know what tax bracket you're in, but currently in this tax year, if you're in the highest tax bracket, that means you're in a 37% tax bracket. So just think about this for a minute. I was thinking about this just the other day because I didn't know what the tax bracket was this year. So my wife brought it to me. She says, hey, I looked it up. Here's what it is. We're in the highest bracket. If you're in the highest bracket, it's 37%. So I started thinking a day or two later, I'm like, 37% tax bracket, and the average American spends 34.5 cents of every dollar goes to interest to every person. Well, right there is like over 70% of your money. So you have to earn, right? So the first $10 you earn, I mean, again, I know there's a lot more that goes into this. I'm being very superficial and generic. But if you think about it, the first $10 you earn, you only get to keep 3 of that $10. I mean, right? I mean, I know there's more that goes into that. There's deductions, write-offs, and all of that. But I mean, if you're just starting from the surface, that's exactly what's happening. So I can't control Uncle Sam. I can't control taxes. I can't control what you do there. I am not a tax advisor. I'm not giving tax advice. That's between you and your tax professional, your CPA, your accountant, whoever you use. But I can help you. I can help you with all that money and interest going out to other people. Now, even though that you think, well, Brent, that's not me. I don't pay interest to anyone else. Well, even if you pay cash and you never pay interest, you're still paying interest. Let me tell you what I mean about that. So let's just say if we had a $20,000 car. Let's say we were going to go buy a $20,000 car. Now, how do you buy a car? I know how you all buy cars. I don't even know you, but I know how you buy cars. You either pay cash, you bank finance the car, or you lease the car, right? I don't think you guys stole the car because you're probably pretty honest. So what you had to do in all 3 of those situations, pay cash, bank finance, or lease it, you have to take your money and you have to give it to the car dealer. The car dealer gives you the car. He's got the money. Transaction is over. Everybody goes home happy. But what happened to that $20,000? What happened to that $20,000? That money is gone. It's left your family forever. It is gone, gone, gone. So even though you didn't pay interest on that money, you just gave up that money that all that money could have been earning you interest on. You've given up the power of that money. You've given up the earning potential of that money because that money is gone. How about if there's a way that I can show you how for every single car that you buy, you are now able to recycle and recapture and get all the money back? Brent, what does that even mean, get all the money back? Well, look, the thing you're going to do is give money for the car. They're going to give you the car. But if we add one step in your financial life, you now can get the money back. I show you how to do that in great detail. Go watch my 90-minute video on our website, themoneymultiplier.com. I show you exactly how to do that. That is one of the examples I show you. I show you many examples, but that is one of the examples I show you. Some people will call me up after watching that or call one of our money mentors up. And anyway, Martin, here's what they do. They just say, hey, I want to be able to get the money back on my cars exactly like you showed in the example of the video. That's all they care about, is getting the money back on their cars. Now, yes, we all, I bet most 99% of us that are on today understand the purchase of a car. Because I bet if you've never owned a car, I bet chances are you've driven a car, or I bet if you haven't owned a car or driven a car, I bet you've at least ridden in a car. Okay, I bet almost everybody has done one of those things. Well, The cars that we drive, the reason I like to use a car example is because cars are something we go through life and we constantly change. Because anyway, Martin, you at 50 years old, I know you're 50 because you told me that earlier. I know you're 50. The very first car you started driving when you started driving at 16, that's not a car you still have today, is it? No. You don't have your second car, you don't have your third car, and chances are right now the car that you're driving today is not your last car. So you've went through life and you've bought and sold cars. You're going to continue to go through life and buy and sell cars. Why do you do this? Because the cars either wear out, they get old, or you get tired of driving them and you want something new. So we go through life and we buy and sell cars. Well, let me ask you this question. Out of all the cars you've ever bought, driven, and owned up to this point in your life, how much of the money do you have today? Here's a hint, 0. So if I do nothing else but show you how to get a little bit of that money, or maybe all of that money back for all the future cars you're going to buy, drive, and own for you and your family, I would think that would be a pretty good scenario. And if you can do that with a car, guess what else you can do it with? You can do it with a boat. You can do it with a bicycle. You can do it with a big screen TV, a piano, a chandelier. You can do it with a tractor, a lawnmower, a vacation, taxes. That's right. You can run all your money through this concept that you owe taxes on and recycle and get that money back. And you're from your taxes that you pay, right? What about charitable giving? Do any of you like to give to charity, right? You can give to charity, and all the money you give to charity, you can recycle and recapture and get that money back. Oh, Brent, that ain't right, man. God does not want me to get my charitable giving back. Well, let me tell you, if God did not want you to get your charitable giving back, he would not have me on this call today, on this seminar today, explaining to you how to get it back, and he would not have you in the audience learning how to do it. Are there any poor people that you know adding wings to any churches? Neither do I. So the more that you're able to keep in your family, the more you're able to give to others and help other people in need. And I'm a big believer of what the late Zig Ziglar said. And you know what the late Zig Ziglar said? Zig Ziglar says, you help enough other people get what they want, you end up getting what you want. I try to live by that motto every single day. We serve, we help, we give information, and hopefully if you like this and you like what we do and like what we teach, you'll do it with us at the Money Multiplier. So, big picture view is we're going to use a whole life policy in a mutual company that pays dividends, that is specifically designed, specially engineered for high immediate cash value. Now, one quick point. I want to be clear. This is not any type of life insurance policy. No. This is not a term life insurance policy. It's not a variable. It's not a universal. It's not an IUL. It's not an index universal life policy. It is a specifically designed, specially engineered whole life policy in a mutual company, very key, mutual company that's designed, very key, designed for high immediate cash value. Because I know what you want. You do not want to lock up your money. You want to put your money somewhere where it's growing, where it's continuing to grow, and you can use it at the same time for all the stuff you're buying in life anyway. And that's what we teach. So just as a reminder, our company is called The Money Multiplier. You can go on the website, www.themoney-multiplier.com. So themoneymultiplier.com. Lots of resources. Make sure you go watch that 90-plus minute video. After you watch that video, if you have questions, you can email me, Brent@themoneymultiplier.com. If you would like to schedule a strategy call to see how this will work for you and your family, you can schedule a strategy call with one of the money mentors. If it's too complicated to figure it out on the website, just send me an email, brent@themoneymultiplier.com, and I will get you all the information, get you scheduled with a money mentor. And reminder, my book that we wrote, me and Chris Noggle, Mapping Out the Millionaire Mystery, that is a gift for you. You're welcome to that ebook. Either send me an email or go on the website, themoneymultiplier.com. I look forward to hearing from you and serving you all in the future.
21st Century Entrepreneurship with Martin Piskarik.
Imagine a space where triumphs, trials, and tales of entrepreneurship come alive. Welcome to the 21st Century Entrepreneurship Podcast, a gold awarded journey hosted by Martin Piskarik, connecting with listeners in 95 countries and ranking in the top 0.5% of all podcasts. Join our exclusive community, elevate your perspective, and embark on the path to success.